Hi everyone, this is a day in the life of an intern for a film archive in Raleigh. I show up to work at 12 and my boss hands me a reel that needs to be broken down from some films I had pulled from him a couple days prior. I place these films on that reel and these are the films I'm actually putting back in. I grab one of these gray reels from the respective cans that I just showed you guys, which belongs to one of the films that I'm going to be putting on here. Day in the life of an intern for a film archive in Raleigh. I show up to work at 12 and my boss hands me a reel that needs to be broken down from some films I had pulled from him a couple days prior. I place these films on that reel and these are the films I'm actually putting back in. I grab one of these gray reels from the respective cans that I just showed you guys, which belongs to one of the films that I'm going to be putting on here. I place a little pressure stopper, which makes the film not come off of this spinny thing. Place the other reel back there with perfs facing away from me. It's kind of a rule in archive stuff. I never have the perfs facing towards us. Then I put the other pressure thing to make sure that the film reel does not come off. I connect these
Everybody, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and write songs about them. So that last film was a from the Cornet collection that we've been scanning, and they besides having complete films and elements for the films, they also built up these reels of outtakes that they shot but they just didn't use in the film. And so this was one of those. Actually, it was 3 of those. No, I'm sorry, 2. There were 2 of those reels. And so it's a challenge when I upload these to YouTube to come up with a list of what's in the film. And so I often take stuff from the shot list and kind of pull out words, keywords, and things like that. But what I discovered is I can use the AI chat GPT to create concise little descriptions that kind of mention what the film is about. And it's in the ballpark. It's not 100% accurate. Well, then this weekend I was like, I wonder if I write a song based on the shot lists. And the shot lists are like, man picks up a brick. A boy runs across a construction site. And so it took that and made that song, the lyrics. So I posted some of those to YouTube. I also did one where it generated limericks. And then two where there were conspiracy theories, which are just whacked out. And one that is an exciting travel brochure, and then just some general stories. The films themselves I haven't changed at all, but if you read in the description, you'll read all that stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was funny. People probably hate it, but there you go. A little bird told me today is spring. It's been warm and polleny in Raleigh. I mean, just like bright neon yellow pine pollen. Ugh, it's the worst. It just burns my eyes. Anyways, here's Farm Family in the Spring.
My name is Dale, and this is a story about spring on the farm. I hope you'll like our story, because spring is my favorite time of the year. Today is my birthday. Inside the house, my brother and sister are getting ready for the party.
Did you get the sign up?
Yes, ma'am. Is this for me?
Yes, it is, but you can't open it until this afternoon at the party.
Dad is pretty busy in spring. He's getting the fields ready for planting. Grandpa's checked on Bonnie the cow. He says she's going to have a baby calf sometime this spring. Dad says that this year I can have the calf for a birthday present, but it won't be born for a while yet. Here's our mailman, Mr. Walker. He's been delivering mail to our farm as long as I can remember.
Hi, Dale. There's some cards in the box for you. Is it your birthday or something?
Yeah, it is.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
We live about 5 miles from town. When Dad drives in to get supplies, I like to go along for the ride. I've got an errand in town, too. We always buy our fertilizer and seed corn here at the mill. They sell lots of other things, too, like weed killers, feed for livestock, and even garden tools.
Oh, Paul.
Hi, Red.
Dad has known the manager, Mr. Marshall, since they were boys in school together.
Well, Paul, I'm going to need some corn fertilizer for that 40-acre chunk of ground.
Well, we'll take a look at your soil tests here and see what results we can come up with. Would you like us to deliver this, or you want to pick it up here?
No, you deliver the fertilizer.
Okay. What did you have in mind for seed corn?
Something that would stand the high population and high yield, 150 bushel yield.
While Dad and Mr. Marshall talk business, let me show you around the mill. This is called the elevator. Not the kind you ride in, but big bins for storage. It won't be long before all the farmers around here will come into the mill to get their spring supplies. I guess spring is the busiest time of the year. While we do our errands in town, Grandpa said he'd make some of his old-fashioned ice cream for the birthday party. With Steve blowing up all those balloons, Pam ought to have the decorations done before we get home. This is Whitewater, our town. We do most of our shopping here. And this is a town where I'll go to high school when I'm older. There's supposed to be a package for me at the post office. I don't get packages very often. I wonder if it's a birthday present from Uncle Fred in the city. He always sends us nice things. Package for Dale Markham.
Hey, Dad, it's a present from Uncle Fred.
Okay, let's go.
Happy birthday to Dale. Happy birthday to you.
I guess everybody likes birthday parties, but I think they're extra good when Mom bakes one of her cakes and Grandpa fixes homemade ice cream.
Got any milk? Hannah! Oh!
This is the time of year that we choose our summer farm project in 4-H Club.
This meeting of the LaGrange 4-H Club will now come to order. Our business at hand tonight we'll be selecting projects for some of you younger members that have had trouble selecting your projects. Now, I've got here a list of some of the projects that you can take. You younger boys that live on dairy farms will probably be taking the dairy project. Now, I'd like to find out what some of you members are taking this year, so I'll just call off some names and when you respond with what you're taking. We'll start with Ray. What are you taking this year?
Gardening.
What have you done with it so far?
Well, so far I've only started planting it and putting in the walks.
What have you planted?
Well, I'm starting on my radishes and broccoli.
What do you plan to put in? What besides this?
Oh, some sweet corn and things like that.
Okay. Donna, what are you going to be taking this year?
I'm taking knitting and clothing.
What will you be doing in your clothing project?
Well, I've made this dress, and I'm going to make another dress for the fair.
What about you, Dale? Last time I talked to you, you didn't have a project lined up. Have you got anything now?
Yeah, Dad said the next calf that Bonnie has, that I could have it.
For a first-year member, to have a heifer calf is a real good project. Good luck on your heifer, then.
Every year we plant the vegetable garden next to the barn. Pam's going to keep a record of the garden for 4-H. Sweet corn is one of my favorite vegetables. It's easy to plant, too. If we plant enough, we'll have fresh corn from the garden all summer long. Right now, Dad's getting ready to plant his corn in the field. Lots of people think that field corn is just the same as sweet corn, but that's not so. The corn my dad plants is mainly for cows and pigs to eat. The tractor pulls a 4-row planter that not only plants seeds, but puts fertilizer in the ground at the same time. If the seeds are planted right, with enough fertilizer and rain, in the next 3 weeks, they'll grow into beautiful green plants.
I hear Bonnie out in the barn. I think she's having a calf.
Okay, she might be. I'll go out and check on her. Come on. Get up there. Come on. That's it. There we go. Let me take the picture.
Well, that's the end of my story. But I've saved some pictures that might help you to remember some of the things you've seen on the farm in the spring. Maybe if you look closely, you can tell your own story about a farm family in spring.
Birthday kid in the film, and happy birthday old radios. Yeah, that was great. I mean, you know, not fast paced, but really kind of fun and interesting. And so I used to be in 4-H when I was a kid, and it was interesting because it was a 4-H group that we did plays. Like somebody finagled a way to use county extension money for a performing arts group, and so we would do these plays, but we all had to do like a project so that we could go to the state fair for free. And so every year I would have to try to come up with a project, so it was funny to see them trying to come up like suggest to kids like what project they should work on. It definitely resonates with me. All right, so behind me I have a film scanner, and I have 3 films set up. Potentially, they might be toe-tapping candidates, potentially, as we are trying to amass and get ready to do a toe-tapping tournament of our own stuff, and then take on Found Footage Festival. So let's go ahead and see what we got. This first one, I think, is probability. Enjoy.
Years ago, in the land of Howdyistan, there lived a Raja Haja. Although he was Raja of all the land and the richest man for miles around, he was terribly bored.
What a drag.
You win again, sire.
I know, that's the trouble.
Yes, That was the trouble, for the Raja dearly loved to play games, but he was so good at them that nobody in all of Howdyistan had ever beaten him. It didn't seem to matter what game he played. The Raja never lost. And of course, it's no fun to win all the time.
I've got to find someone who can beat me at something.
So the Raja began importing famous gamesters from far and near to try their skill against him.
Royal Flush, you lose again.
I've got to find someone who can beat me at something. I know. I'll issue a proclamation.
Hear ye, hear ye! The most excellent Raja Haja of Howdyistan hereby decrees that someone come forward and defeat him in fair play at any game whatever. If he does, he shall be rewarded with diamonds and rubies. If, on the other hand, no one is able to defeat the Raja by sundown tonight, everybody's taxes will be doubled.
Why don't you ask Ali Cart? He'd know if anyone would.
Where can I find this Ali Cart?
In the Street of 1,000 Nights.
Excuse me, are you Ali Cart?
Yes, but don't bother me. I'm upset about my nephew, Ali Mode.
Why?
All he does is play games all day.
Where can I find this nephew of yours?
Over in the alley. Playing some game, no doubt.
Excuse me, are you Ali Mode?
What? Oh, yes, that's me.
What are you doing?
Studying a new game I just made up.
Are you, very good at games?
There's no one in the whole land that can beat me.
Come with me. Sire, here is someone who thinks he can beat you.
Wonderful. What game? Chess? Checkers? Parchesi?
Oh, no, Your Highness. I'm sure no one can beat you at those games. But I can beat you at a game I made up myself.
A game you made up yourself, eh? All right, but no cheating. My guards will be watching.
Oh, I'll play fair, Your Highness. We'll need a blackboard and some chalk.
A blackboard and some chalk.
All right, Your Highness. Let me show you how this game goes. First, I'll write each of our names on the board. Next, each one of us chooses one of these numbers. Then, I spin the spinner. If the arrow points to the number you choose, you get a point. If it points to my number, I get a point. If it points to a number that is neither yours nor mine, no one gets a point. We keep track of the points over here, and we keep playing until we can both see that one of us is getting further and further ahead.
I see. And you think you can beat me at this game?
Let's say that I don't think you can beat me.
All right, let's try it. I can't see any reason why one number should come up any more often than any other number, so I think this game will be a tie no matter what number I choose. I'll choose 1.
And I'll choose 4.
That's 1 for you.
No one gets a point for that one.
Aha, that's 1 for me. Well, Ali, it looks like a draw to me. Neither one of us seems to be getting very far ahead of the other. And just as I said before we began playing, there is no reason that any of these numbers should come up any more often than any of the others. So in the long run, we should each get the same amount of points. Ali, I didn't beat you, But you didn't beat me either, and that was in my proclamation. Have you got another game?
Yes, I do, Your Highness, and I think I can defeat you.
I hope he does it in a hurry. It's getting close to sundown.
This game we play with 2 spinners. This time, we get a number by spinning both the spinners and adding the 2 numbers with arrows pointing to them. For instance, these 2 spins give us 6. Everything else about the game is the same. We each pick a number. Whenever a person's number comes up, he gets a point, and we play until we can both see that one of us is getting further and further ahead.
Now, let's see. The smallest number that could come up would be 2. And the largest would be 8. It looks to me like any number from 2 to 8 could appear.
That's correct, Your Highness.
Well, I still don't see why any number should come up any more often than any other number. I think it's going to be a draw again.
I think I can win, Your Highness. Only one thing.
What's that?
You picked first in the last game. Let me pick first this time.
Very well. I don't see what difference it makes who picks first.
I pick 5.
I'll pick 7. No one gets a point for that one.
Aha! A point for me. Well, Your Highness?
All right, Ali. I admit you're getting further and further ahead. You win.
The Raja lost.
I lost, but I don't understand why. Why did 5 come up more often than 7? In fact, 5 came up more often than any other number. Why?
I'll explain, Your Highness. You were right when you said that any of these numbers would come up about as often as any of the other numbers.
But let's take a look at the combinations we can get. We can get 1 and 1, or 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, and so on. As you can see, there are 16 possible combinations. Each is as likely to come up as any other.
Now, let's imagine that we stack these combinations in piles that add up to the same number. So the 1 and 1 combination would go in the 2 pile. The 1 and 2 combination would go in the 3 pile, and so would the 2 and 1 combination, and so on. So you see, Your Highness, even though any one of these combinations will come up about as often as any other, there are 4 combinations that add up to 5, and only 2 combinations that add up to 7.
And so 5 will come up about twice as often as 7. In fact, 5 will come up more often than any other number. Well, that's all well and good, and I can see that the chances were very much in your favor. But isn't it possible that I could have been very lucky and won anyway?
But I knew the odds were in my favor and that I'd probably win. So I took the chance.
Thank you, Ali. I feel much better. And here is your reward.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Don't just stand there. Get me the checkers. Well, nobody likes to lose all the time.
Ali, who would have won the game if you had each chosen 2 numbers? Say, if one of you had chosen 3 and 4, the other 5 and 6.
You can figure that out in the same way that I figured out that 5 would occur more often than 7. And once you've figured that out, see if you can divide the numbers into 2 sets so that each set has an equal chance of occurring.
That series is horrible. It doesn't make any sense. The best one in the series, though, is Weird Number, which is about fractions. The rest of them are just incredibly plotting. All right, this next film is a kind of a slideshow, but according to my notes, it has a really great song. So hopefully this will be a toe-tapping tournament. You let me know.
Hey, look up, look down, look all around you. Tell me what you see. There's so much to be discovered if you look carefully.
Do you know how to see? Not many of us do. Most of us go through life just looking at things, never really seeing anything. You've got to learn to use your eyes, just like you must learn to talk or read. We've all looked at a flower before, but did you ever really see one? If you look closely, you see things you've never seen before.
Hey, look in, look out, look all about you. Tell me what you find. Remember, when you use your eyes, you also use your mind.
You can look at anything in many different ways, even a city street. Up close, it looks like this. When you get a little farther away, you begin to see different patterns. It looks like this when you're standing on the sidewalk. And now you can see how people use it, too. How would it look from a tall building? From an airplane, you can see how the same street fits into the pattern of the city. To really understand something, you must look at it in a lot of different ways. Each way you look at it tells you something new, and the more ways you look at it, the more you know. A good way to understand things is to look at them closely. Try watching a snail sometime. How does it come out of its shell? How does it move? There are things around you every day that can tell you something new about your world, but you can't see them unless you try. Have you ever noticed how glass changes the way we see things? How is cloth put together? What does your own skin look like? Is this newspaper picture a photograph or just a bunch of dots? What do you think this is? Go ahead, make a guess. Details are important, but you've got to see the whole thing too, or you might get into trouble. Some things take more time to see. Have you ever planted tomatoes and observed how they grow? How do they grow? Now do you think you know how to see? Let's pretend that you're standing here with Chris looking at this bay. Quick now, what do you see? You probably saw the bridge. But did you see the cars on it? Did you see the freighter coming in from the ocean? And the small boats? What else was there? Did you see the seagulls? The pattern of the waves? The weeds on the cliff? How about the city across the bay? Seeing is one of the most important things you do. Learn to use your eyes. See how beautiful the world really is. Watch how things work. You can learn new things every day if you just use your eyes.
Hey, look up, look down, look all all around you. Tell me what you see. There's so much to be discovered if you'll look carefully.
Is that a toe tapper? Thank you, Retro Gamer and Mike 1970 for contributing. It's awesome. All right, I got the order wrong. So this next one is for Pillsbury, and it's something I think they showed employees to get them excited. And so it has, like I said, it's a slideshow. So visually it's not interesting, but it says in the notes, great song. So is this a toe tapping tournament candidate? Let me know.
Hello, I'm Jack Stafford. You know, at Pillsbury, being the best isn't just a slogan. It's the commitment on which our company is built. The presentation you're about to see on Keep the Promise is part of a program that emphasizes the importance of quality at Pillsbury and the pride that all of us take in the job we're doing. It's a tribute to you, the Pillsbury employee, for your ongoing efforts to maintain our high quality standards. And it's a pledge to our customers that each time they select a Pillsbury product, they know they can expect the very best. So my thanks to you and the job you're doing, and for your continuing commitment to keep the Pillsbury promise. Thank you.
Rain, faith in the field, hope for the yield, a promise. Seed, grain, life in the land, more than a plan, the promise. Grow, oh, let it grow. Plant that bountiful meadow row by row. Grow, oh, let it grow. Let those fields and valleys overflow. Let it grow. Big wheels fly down the road, carry the load, the promise. Daylight all through the night, keeping in sight, the promise. Roll, roll, let it roll. Keep those big wheels headed toward the goal. Roll, roll, let it roll. Bring it on in so we can take control. Let it roll. Keeping the promise. Keeping that great old recipe. Keeping the promise. Setting our sights on quality. Keeping the promise. Feeling it way down deep inside. Keeping the Pillsbury promise. With pride.
It really begins out there, on the farms and ranches that sweep across this bountiful land of ours. The promise. It begins with a selection of produce and grains, meats and dairy products, all the raw ingredients that eventually are to be judged in a single mouthful. Quality. The promise of quality. When you think about it, that's quite a commitment, quite a responsibility, and it takes quite a team of people to live up to it. A team made up of very different talents. Dedicated business people who can effectively put the numbers together, analyze the market, plan for tomorrow. They're a part of the promise. There are the marketing people who design quality packaging, create meaningful and exciting advertising and promotional campaigns, guard the image. The research and development teams that speak a language all their own. Vitamins, calories, consistency. Ag research, working with plant genetics. Searching for new and more effective pest and weed controls. Engineering, providing plant and machine design. And the salespeople, who ultimately get the shelves and cases stocked and displayed within easy access of the consumer. But perhaps even more than any of these, the Pillsbury promise of quality lies in the care of the people on the line. The people who bring the raw ingredients through the plant doors to be formulated into excellence. Checking, rechecking, always attentive to safety factors. Keeping the sometimes delicate machinery running smoothly and efficiently. Keeping alive the whir and hum of quality. Quality is something that happens by design. Every detail is planned for, meticulously. And these standards are then strictly adhered to, so that the consumer gets what he or she has come to expect from Pillsbury, the best. So, it begins in the fields, this promise. It finds its way to plants throughout the country. Places like Fresno, Terre Haute, Watsonville, New Albany, and more. Here in these places, it is sorted, tested, and cleaned. It is blended and rolled, sliced, cooked, canned, frozen, and packaged. It is coated and shipped, and finally stocked. And every single day, it is bought by people just like you. And not just because of the way it's packaged, or because of how it appears in a magazine ad. It is bought because the end user has complete confidence in the name that's on the package. Green Giant, Totino's, American Beauty, Pillsbury. Names that all promise that certain goodness that can only come from careful attention to quality. It is because of this that Pillsbury pays tribute to the men and women who from field to plant to grocer's shelf have continually kept the promise and who pledged commitment to a future that will build on that established tradition. There's only one way to go when you're already the best. You get better. Perhaps the most difficult task is one of improving on an already successful effort. It's a task that requires fresh thinking, new ideas, and a certain amount of rededication. That's what Keep the Promise is all about. Moving on from here, taking it from the top.
Bright shines there on the line. Look and you'll find the promise. Team skill, together we will always fulfill the promise. Grow, let it grow. Plant that bountiful meadow row by row. Grow, let it grow. Let those fields and valleys overflow. Build, grow, moving ahead, working to spread the promise. New day, the feeling runs deep, working to keep the promise. Roll, let it roll. Keep those big wheels headed toward the goal. Roll, let it roll. Bring it on in so we can take control. Let it roll. Keeping the promise. Keeping that great old recipe. Keeping the promise. Setting our sights on quality. Keeping the promise. Feeling it way down deep inside. Keeping the Pillsbury promise of pride. Keeping the promise. Keeping that great old recipe. Keeping the promise. Setting our sights on quality. Keeping the promise. Feeling it way down deep inside. Keeping the Pillsbury promise of pride.
You think that was a good toe tapper? Please say so in the comments. So what that was somebody created a slide program with multiple slide projectors, and then what you could do is you could set up a tape that had audio track, but also had a control track that sent things to the projectors to advance to the next slide, to fade and then advance. And you saw what they did is somebody with that pulsing, fade in, fade out, like that was the control track kind of sending that. So this was a slide presentation, an elaborate one with at least 2, maybe 3 projectors that they would present and show. And they didn't go with film, with motion picture. They just went with a bunch of stills for whatever reason. And so I think at some point somebody was like, yeah, we want to show this again, but we're not going to pay somebody to go set up this slide thing like at this factory or whatever. So they they struck a film of the program. So with the audio and all that. So that's what this is. So visually, I don't know, not very interesting, but this was something that was not meant to be shown to the average person. This was probably shown to employees, to management, to shareholders about Pillsbury and all their holdings. That's what my guess is. So we weren't supposed to see that and rock out to that song. There were some folks that were guessing when it was. So I don't know. I have no idea. There's no information written on the can or that I found on the leader. So I don't know. So speaking of things you're not supposed to see, my intern Mari has been doing the TikTok channel for AV Geeks because it's baffling to me. But she said, "Oh yeah, there's this thing where what a day at the life of AV Geeks is like." And so this is what she does. So this is her take on going to the AV Geeks archive. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, this is a day in the life of an intern for a film archive in Raleigh. So yeah, I show up to work at 12 and my boss hands me a reel that needs to be broken down from some films I had pulled from him a couple days prior. I place these films on that reel and these are the films I'm actually putting back in. I grab one of these gray reels from the respective cans that I just showed you guys, which belongs to one of the films that I'm going to be putting on here. So yeah, I place a little pressure stopper, which makes the film not come off of this spinny thing. Place the other reel back there with perfs facing away from me. It's kind of a rule in archive stuff. We never have the perfs facing towards us. Then I put the other pressure thing to make sure that the film reel does not come off. I connect these with tape so that I can make sure that the film from the other reel is coming to its respective film reel so that it can go back in the can and be shelved properly. This took me a little longer than I anticipated, but that's basically what that looks like. Has the connecting there. So then it's a spinning process and I have to place pressure on the other reel so that it doesn't go too fast and the film doesn't get messed up. As you can see, I'm looking down at the film, watching out for an area where the film becomes, I get to the end or the start of the prior film and the end of the other film because that's where we splice them together. So you can see I'm slowing it down and that yellow and white is basically what I'm looking for. So I disconnect these films. And then I grab the film, tape it back on to its respective reel, and I take off the reel, take off the pressure thing, and I put it back in its can because that is the reel that it was supposed to be on. So yeah, I believe this film was Comets, Meteors, and Asteroids. But yeah, I basically do the same thing for the other film, put it back on this reel. As you can see, it's a huge arm workout. And I was supposed to stop it sooner, but then it started getting a little fast. But yeah, then I place the pressure thing off, and then I grab the respective can and make sure that the film is taped down so that it does not get messed up in the shelving process and doesn't get tangled up with the other parts of the metal reel. As you can see, I put it back in this plastic can, and it's going to go back on the shelf immediately. But first, I'll show you guys kind of where I do most of my work. Hello, E.T. But what you're seeing right now is basically the archives collection of films, and I'll show you the different things. So this is the small plus room, which are the small, or the sizes, the medium films on the right, size between small and medium. This is the small room where I'll turn on the light, and you can see there are a lot of small cans, small meaning shorter reel, shorter film. Very, basic understanding of that. I turned the light on for the medium room, which is extensive. It's probably our biggest collection, to be honest, besides the stuff we have offsite. But yeah, you can see these are bigger reels than the smalls and the small pluses. But yeah, so then from the films that I had pulled, or that I had put back on the reel, I placed BM, which means Black Magic, the machine we use to scan the films, and Lunch, because that's when my boss scanned them. And I'm going to search these films on the database, which shows, M102.1. So that means I'm going to put them back on M102.1. And I use the steps tool because I am incredibly short. But yeah, they're alphabetized, but they're not like Dewey Decimal or anything like that. So the next thing I'll do is search for more films to basically build another similar reel for my boss to continue scanning. So I grabbed 2 films that I remember that I had been able to build a reel for him. So then I do that before lunch. Then I eat my lunch, and basically I have a protein pack, a salad from Aldi, some chips, and I think some cucumbers with ranch that's not shown. It's very delicious. Then I check in on my coworkers. This is Kayshawn's office space. He does a lot of scanning and a lot of other cool stuff, but that's his really cool machine. As you can see, he's scanning as I took this video. That's the cool film that connects there. But yeah, the scanning process is difficult, hard, but all my coworkers do it. But yeah, this is Ryan, my other coworker, who was scanning another film in the process, and this is Skip, who was reviewing some footage from his live show and live stream. But yeah, so this is me basically building another reel for Skip to scan, and Skip was my boss in the prior video, for him to basically build up some footage and digitize it and put it on our website. But yeah, so this is me taking out some more films from the shelves to basically check them, check the label, make sure everything reads correctly, make sure the info is in the database. It's a very extensive process, but I've been working on it for a couple months. So basically, I take a film, I check the title, I open up the can, make sure nothing's rusted, nothing is oily, vinegary. Sometimes you have to smell them to make sure they're fine. And then if they're all good and nothing's wrong, usually check the database. And once I check the database and make sure it's in our system, basically put the correct location for them. And that's pretty much what I do in the day of a life as an archive intern. Thanks for
Mari for that. Mari, short for Mariana. Yeah, it's exciting to see from someone else's viewpoint, like what we do here. And yeah, those films that when I have the built up reels that I'm showing, it's because Mari has been doing the work. So thank you, Mari, for that. It means that I don't have to like splice everything and build up all the reels all the time. But yeah, she's been going through the stacks in the shelves to say what is where, but also to kind of do a check for vinegar stuff that's getting to the point where it can't be screened at all, or it's close, and then we would probably scan it on the laser graphics if it's beginning to curl. But yeah, that's what we do. Thank you, Rick K, for the $5. You can hit the thanks button. That's one way you can pay us. You can also go to I just heard a weird beep, and I'm wondering if the power went out. That's really strange. Anyways, you can go to patreon.com/avgeeks, ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can hit the thumbs up button, or you can just watch other stuff that we're putting online. And we just did a big batch of stuff we're putting online. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Mari. We will be back again tomorrow. Everybody take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.